Okay, well, once we had the back half installed and the rear axle hung, it was time for the bodywork. And as you can see, I had a lot of it. This car has wrinkles and dents and creases and bends on virtually every surface. The driver's side, that's the passenger side rear quarter panel. That's right behind the passenger side door. The front fenders were all dented and mangled. Even right around the headlights their crease is caved in, and those are difficult repairs to make. I'm not an expert body guy, but I have a stud weld gun and some experience with body work, so I figured I'd give it a go. And like as you can see, there's creases and dents and stuff like everywhere. So I just figured you got to start someplace, and I might as well start on the worst of it. And the worst of it was actually on that driver's side behind the door. The problem is that has a nice crease in it from the factory, and I was trying to replicate that factory crease. And I just couldn't do it with what I had. So I figured out that there was a way to use a rear door from a four-door car. It had the same shape to the sheet metal. So I finagled a deal with a buddy, and we got a rear door. I cut the panel out of that and then traced the panel size on the Valiant, cut it out so that it fit quite nicely in there. I tried not to leave much of a gap at all. There you can see the new panel is in there. And I'm holding it in place with magnets on the inside. And I'm just going to tack welded in, and I MIG welded this whole thing. This was before I had a TIG, and so I tacked it in, paid lots of attention not to warp the panel, was really particular about that, and I would tack it and cool it and tack it and cool it, and as you can see, I got it in there, and it turned out okay. It's certainly not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. And the goal here is really just to get it good enough to go to the body shop. It's not supposed to be perfect. I'm not a finished body guy by any means. I'm hoping my body shop is going to be able to fix all the lines and get everything nice and straight and flat. I'm just trying to save as much labor as possible because we all know body work is seriously expensive. So here I am continuing on with that driver's side rear quarter panel. I got to fix a problem in the wheel well there as well. That was really ugly. The metal was torn up pretty bad. I used some clamps and kind of kept as much of the original metal as I could, welded it in, kept welding and smoothing, and finally I got it to where it was decent. Again, none of this is designed to be perfect, but I wanted it to be structurally good, and I'll let the bodywork work on the details. So here's continuing on the quarter panel, and I use a stud puller to get most of the big dents out, and now I'm going to fill the fuel filler cap because the car is going to use a fuel cell. So I cut a piece of material to go kind of inside, not flush, but recessed a little bit so there's a place for the weld to go. Tacked that in and ground it smooth, and it turned out pretty good. I'm not a metal finisher, but I'm happy with the way that worked out, and a little bit of polyester filler, and you'll never know it was there. So I kept working on the quarter panel, and I got it relatively flat and straight, got the body lines relatively good, and I'm happy with that. My body shop guys can take it from there. Again, I'm not a body guy, but, it's saving me some money. So here's the other side. Big, long crease. That one I was able to hammer out a lot from the inside, but I still had to use the stud puller in some places. But I had good trunk access in there, so I could hammer that out with a hammer and dolly, and working on it, and, it's patience and it takes time, but I eventually got it to where I was happy enough with it, and my body guys could work on it. That's some of the original leading on the top, and now I'm starting on the front fenders, and man, talk about a mess. Again, this is the stud puller coming to the rescue. Most of this metal is like double-sided, so I can't get at it from the back side. And so I'm having to, pull and grind and pull, and and just, keep working the material till I get it as flat as I possibly can. The goal is for a minimal amount of filler. I don't want any 1/4 inch thick filler on the car, but a 1/16 of an inch here or there isn't going to kill me. But you can see the damage was like, no fun. And the creases like that especially are tough to get out. And, of course, you can't hammer on the backside of that because there's metal on the other side. So I just keep working on it. There's a big crease right down the middle. Like, how do you do that? I don't even understand. The doors, kind of the same thing. I just keep plugging away at it. And thanks to that stud gun and a lot of patience, a lot of heating and cooling, a lot of double checking for straightness, and I just kept working on it. And I'm not going to bore you to tears with this whole thing because, frankly, there's 2.5 months of work in the body on this car. So as it turned out, I'm fairly happy with it. You can see what I was working with, though. Like, this was no cherry piece here. So, but, like that crease in the door, stud that all out, pull it all out, and then, check it for flatness. Check it for, how am I doing? Minimal amount body filler required and minimal warpage and stuff. So I was fairly happy with the way it all turned out. Again, good enough for my body shop to start working on it. The trunk lid was no bargain either. I mean, here's dents everywhere and right on the creases, right on the body lines. Of course, that's where they're all dented. But again, patience, keep working it. Pull, grind, sand, fill, pull, grind, sand, fill, and just keep working at it and get it there. So here I'm removing the venting, the cowl vent. I wanted to take that out, and I wanted to also fill in the holes for the wiper because the car's not going to have windshield wipers. So I wanted to weld that all in and make it smooth. So I cut another panel just the way I did in the quarter panel. Cut a panel to fit in there, got it to fit pretty nice. Same thing for the wiper holes. Got them filled in, and then just went to town with a welder and got it all tacked in. And as it turned out, at the end of the day, I managed to get these filled in without really warping anything. Everything was straight and flat and true, and so it looked good. And so then I started on the firewall. Too many holes in this for NHRA, and so I wanted to make that nice and flat and smooth and clean it up. So I cut a piece of material to a template that we had made, and I sprayed it with some galvanized weld-through primer so that it wouldn't rust on the inside, and got it clamped into place, tacked it on, and once it was all welded, finish welded all the way around, there it is. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't even know that I did it. So I think we'll wrap it up there for this video. The next video is going to be beginning the roll cage and getting some of that done and installed, and maybe making the wheel tubs and filling out the material, all the sheet metal and stuff in the trunk. So come on back for that, and as always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Please leave your comments, criticisms, suggestions, what you like, what you don't like. I read everything, so I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.